obliterating skulls with blunt tool. On another monitor, the undead Nazi had just finished slicing the shit out of the devil nurse, who was a mid-tsunami. So that's 12 down, I thought. 20 left. The shit show wasn't even anywhere near done. Check it out, Sandu said. There's still 4 voids who haven't escaped yet. Sure enough, he was right. First off, there was the Titan. 15 feet 7 inches. 475 centimeters. 1,438 pounds, 652 kilograms. A colossal entity with destructive capabilities that were nigh impossible to deal with. It was a humanoid with an immensely muscular frame, further accentuated by the fact that there wasn't an ounce of fat on his entire body. Its harder-than-steel skin was reddish and cracked all over, with a roadmap of razor-like veins bulging at every square inch. And then there was the face. It had 6 sets of glowing blue eyes and a mouth full of fangs that exposed gums that were caustic to the touch. His holding cell, if you could even call it that, was a bit more fortified than the rest. I'm under-exaggerating, of course. It was fortified to goddamn hell. No electronic locks connected to a central system either, which is probably what caused the breach to begin with. Good thing, too. He was a low asteroid. The next one up was the Warden. 8'7", 261 centimeters, 435 pounds, 197 kilograms. Ironically enough, this guy apparently used to run a prison of his own. What kind of prison that might be was beyond me. He had pale white skin, shadow-like eyes, long, slicked-back silver hair. His trench coat was long and perpetually bloody, sweeping the floor as he walked. I've heard stories about the guy. Supposedly, he killed upwards of 700 prisoners during a breach at his prison, managing to come out unscathed from a devastating explosion afterwards. He was as dangerous as a void could get without being considered asteroid tier, being a high hurricane. Funny enough, his cell was wide open, with guard bodies and destroyed mech suits littering the space, but instead of getting up and walking out, he simply sat, expression devoid of anything at all, like it usually was. Obviously, he was up to nothing good. The next one was quite the doozy, the strongest void in the entire chasm, in fact. He went by a simple moniker, the Calamity of Earth, or just the Calamity for short. Its gender was unknown, its height and weight unknown. Appearance unknown to everyone except the top officials overseeing this entire fucking operation. Hell, we don't even know where it was kept. The only thing we had to monitor was a simple panel containing 3 lights. Green, safe, still contained. Yellow, breakout in progress, evacuate immediately. And red, breached, too fucking late. What did we know about this thing? Nothing, save for the fact that a breach would most likely result in a global catastrophe. Of course, it was a high asteroid, the only high asteroid in fact. And then there was the last, still captive void, but unlike the 3 overpowered monsters I've already talked about, he was a lot different. The kid was 5'6", 168 centimeters, 142 pounds, 68 kilograms. As his name implies, the kid was just that. A kid, from his appearance. He couldn't have been much older than 16 or 17 at most. The only thing we knew about him was that he apparently had extraordinary, undisclosed abilities. Abilities he used to slaughter his entire village back in Kerala, India. But who the hell knows what actually happened? To me, and nearly every other guard, he just seemed like your average, meek teenager. In fact, we rarely ever exerted caution around him. Unlike the rest of the voids in here, he just did as he was told, always with this incredibly sullen expression on his face. And I suppose that I can't blame him, given the we were instructed to keep him there. There's a lot of stuff going on here in the chasm that us guards don't quite understand. And I make no reservations about that. I know for a goddamn fact that not everything we're doing here is saintly work.
What about
not
smoke?
even.
Yeah.
They deserve to be wiped off the face of the earth.
He's a brand
I
of
never
smoke.
understood why we bothered holding them
Keep
malicious ones,
coupling
using taxpayer money just to keep them alive.
Keep
And
this
then there
right
were the
over
ones who I wasn't quite
spare.
sure belonged here at all. Did they even do anything wrong? Who knows? But one thing was for sure.
Fun.
They were different. Exceptional, I guess. The subjects of state curiosity. I always tried suppressing these thoughts.
It's a
I
bot
mean,
now.
who the hell was I? Just some random fucking guard. Not some arbiter of morality. Still. Fuck it. This isn't the time. So let's see. What happened next? I turned to face a random monitor, trying to take my mind off of the kid. I caught what appeared to be the middle of a fight, with the two combatants being Jack the Ripper, 6'1", 185 centimeters, 170 pounds, 77 kilograms, the infamous serial killer. Apparently, he'd performed some arcane ritual while on death's door that granted him an extended lifespan and superhuman strength in exchange for what was left of his already dwindling humanity. He hardly resembled a human when we caught him, with a mouth full of sharp, rotting teeth, eyes sunken beyond reason, and a face riddled with cuts, burns, and various infections. He was quite the sore sight to behold. At that moment, he was once again at death's door. The person who put him there? Bella Vauclain, aka the Bloody Painter. 5'5", 165 centimeters, 122 pounds, 55 kilograms. Despite looking more or less like a normal woman, she was a brutal assassin and wasn't too concerned with the aftermath of her job. After killing her target, she painted a bloody picture on the walls. Sometimes she'd supplement her art with a few organs. She wasn't incredibly strong, but that didn't matter all too much. She had this obscure ability where she could summon blades out of thin air at the tips of her fingers, and then use some Esper-like ability to shoot them off in rapid succession, almost at a machine gun-like rate of fire. She had no problems reducing her targets to mincemeat. The ones she really disliked, that is. When we finally captured her, she maintained that she only killed the ones who really deserved it. However, any chance of appeal, not that there was a chance to begin with, was shattered when she punctured the throats of 3 guards. She still claimed that it was an accident to this day. Do I believe her? Well, it's about 50-50 with me. Like I said, she had Jack on the ropes, with what must have been over 100 blades planted firmly within the killer's body, including both of his eyes. Still, he had yet to give up as he swung Wirehead's bat. He must have picked it up, blindly and wildly around him. Bella wasn't unscathed herself. It looked as if she'd taken a couple of pretty bad hits to her ribcage and thigh. In addition to that, she had a gnarly bite mark on her hand. Nevertheless, she smiled as she pointed her fingers like a pistol at the frenzied Jack.
Profilé de l'enfer,
she said before blasting the killer to shreds, finally ending his grim legacy. Once she was done with that, she let out a loud sigh, clutching her ribs and wincing in pain. Unlike most of the other voids, she wasn't capable of taking too much punishment. After walking for a bit, she came across Luz. While still badly mangled from his confrontation with Wirehead, he was walking again. I didn't even know that he could regenerate that quickly. The two stared at each other for about half a minute before Bella stuck out her hand and smiled. It was a risk, for sure, but while Luz didn't reciprocate the smile, he cooperated, accepting the handshake without electrocuting her. Another team-up, and one that I wouldn't necessarily have expected. I did another quick sweep of the monitors. Morgie had taken out the mechanic, although he was limping now, and his next fight wasn't going to be an easy one. He was a few steps from coming across Satanbot. In the meantime, and funny enough, the undead Nazi was about to square off with the sadistic Soviet. 6'2", 187 centimeters, 215 pounds, 98 kilograms. Low earthquake tier. Instead of being zombified like the Nazi, he was more mechanical. More specifically, he was about 60% robotic, with his human bits slowly beginning to rot away. The surgeon was engaged in a bloody duel with Spider-Man. 6'9", 206 centimeters, 215 pounds, 102 kilograms. Unlike Peter Parker, this guy was basically just a large tarantula with human skin and a half-human head. Kale and Hugo were in the medical center, with the former tending to the latter's wounds. I thought about everything for a second, trying to run the numbers through my head. There were 4 more voids that had definitely escaped that I hadn't seen yet on any of the monitors, but I was only really concerned about 2 of them. You see, within the chasm, there were 4 asteroid-tier voids in total. 2 of them were still contained. The problem was rather obvious. Beyond that, there were now 14 voids dead, 4 who still haven't joined the fight, 14 currently active. All 4 asteroids still in play, 3 high earthquakes as well. TFV and H likely on their way. Holy fuck, I thought to myself. The real fight hasn't even started yet. I completely forgot about the elephant in the room, but sure enough, they were finally ready to reveal themselves. As footsteps began emanating from the darkness behind us, I braced myself for whatever horrific entity we were surely about to encounter. But instead of that, it was an unfamiliar guy that looked to be in his mid-20s with knuckles. There's shit in both your pants right now, isn't there? Don't lie to me. Well, the joke's gone on long enough. Who the fuck are you? Sandu asked, sounding somewhat agitated. The man put his arms up in an ostensibly defensive manner. Relax, I'm just an observer here. But his bloodshot eyes seemed to bulge out as they wandered over to the monitors. It looks like the preliminaries are over. Time for the good stuff. Only describe as volatile. Perhaps in the moment he had no will. So sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. The man stepped towards us with a gaze that I can only describe as volatile. Perhaps in the moment he had no ill intent, but there were volcanoes behind his eyes. Volcanoes that looked ready to erupt at any damn point. For that reason, I found myself slowly backing away. But not Sandu. For whatever reason, he stood his ground, facing the strange man without reservation. I suppose it also helped that he was 6'4", with a considerably larger frame. The name's Adrian Nyquist, he said, his voice nearly shaking with some kind of obscure excitement. He held out his hand, but neither of us bothered with the niceties of the introduction. He sighed. What? Is it me? He lifted his shirt collar and taking a whiff. Ugh, oh, you gotta shower more, Adrian. And then he started laughing again. But can you blame me? I've been busy. Who the fuck are you? Sandu insisted. And don't just tell us your name again. Okay, Adrian said, smirking. Big guy. Scary stuff, really. What'd you bench? 3 plates and a bit? Sandu opened his mouth again, but was interrupted. It's fine, though. I'll go ahead and explain myself. I mean, the whole situation's kind of weird. Yeah, I responded. Just kind of. Adrian sat down on the floor and let out a big puff of air. I don't really want to go too in-depth here. I don't enjoy talking about myself, so let me just drop the bomb on you first. I caused the breach. I nearly swallowed my tongue. What the fuck do you mean? I meant what I said. I let all the prisoners out. But what? How? I stammered out. He tilted his head back and groaned before pretending to type on an invisible keyboard. Just a little hacking, man. Hacking, I responded in disbelief. But why? Well, that's where it does get a little crazy. Now, have you ever hopped dimensions? Have I ever fucking what? Alright, I see you're uninitiated with the concept. Well, unlike hacking some corny lock system, the logistics there really do get complicated. I'll admit that I don't 100% understand it myself, but I understand just enough to have some fun. I was at a complete loss. I'm a jumper. Well, that's what they call us. He chuckled somewhat goofily. Still a novice, but at least I'm out there doing it, living life, you know? Anyway, the multiverse is massive, obviously. A lot of crazy worlds out there just waiting to be explored, but he paused. I made a mistake last month. You see, I was watching some brutal big stakes fighting tournament called the Evisceration Championship on a planet called Hellscape. It's a real fucked up place, but drugs and laws, they're mostly unenforced there, so, you know, it's alright, I guess. Anyway, I'm up in the stands, 12th row, just blitzed out of my fucking mind on Astro Coke. It's like regular Coke, if regular Coke was actually good. He blew his nose into a disgusting handkerchief. But sometimes you make bad decisions when you're juiced. I guess school taught us something else, huh? This is a long story short. I made a deal with some fucking sketchy intergalactic gang leader named Bones the Fourth that I'd provide him a fighter that would guarantee him a win for the next tournament. But obviously I was just talking shit. Not sure why the guy believed me, an Astro Cokehead of all people. He burst out laughing again. Well, I'll never understand the rich. Okay, I responded, barely comprehending what I had just been told. Assuming that what you just said is all true, that you're not completely fucking bonkers, why don't you just tell the guy you don't have a fighter? Well, Adrian made a whoopsie gesture with his hands. The guy paid up front, a metric fuck ton of intergalactic currency and about 22 kilograms, 50 pounds of Astro Coke. Well, then just go and give him it back. Alright, Mr. Self-Control, teach me your fucking secrets. Look, I've blown all the money. I still have a few kilos of Coke, though, for, a rainy day. I'm not sharing, by the way. So, what the hell? This whole thing's some fucked up tournament to you? You're just gonna drag the last void standing to fight in these evisceration matches? Well, it's less of a tournament and more of a haphazard free-for-all. I'm no logistics expert, after all. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to say to the guy. If you're behind the breach, then you're responsible for the deaths of hundreds of guards, hundreds of good men. Sandu coughed. Most of them good men. Adrian rolled his eyes. Yeah, okay, real lost, huh? I'm just trying to live my life here, man. You're insane. Look, did that comment get us anywhere? You feel better now after stating the obvious? No reply from Sandu. Adrian sighed. Look, can we just enjoy the show now? What's done is... He was interrupted by Sandu trying to tackle him to the ground. The man did know jujitsu, but no luck. He couldn't even get Adrian to budge. I saw the veins in his forehead bulging as he apparently exerted all of his strength trying to subdue the strange, lanky man. Shit, he said through gritted teeth. This guy's strong. Adrian simply pulled out a pack of cigarettes, looking completely unbothered. You know, I've taken a lot of strange drugs from a lot of different dimensions. One of them was bound to be a steroid. Also, he began grinning like a maniac. I'm no stranger to training. Wouldn't survive out there if I was weak like you guys. He picked up Sandu by the collar and gently tossed him back. Given the circumstances, I'll forgive that you just tried to attack me. Now, why don't we just sit tight and watch? And I held up a hand. One last question, if you will. Adrian rolled his eyes and groaned like a child. Come on, we're missing the good shit. But fine, hurry up. The last void standing. They're bound to be pretty strong, right? Adrian nodded. Shit. I'm not trying to grab some chump. Okay, so how the hell are you going to convince them to come
I'll
with
go
you?
to the spot.
These prisoners aren't exactly
You
reasonable.
know.
Adrian stared at me with just about the stupidest look on his face for about 10 seconds. Well, you know what they say. He cracked his knuckles. You just gotta live in the now. You're an idiot. Would an idiot get this far? The idiot had a good point. If he really was the mastermind behind the breach, then the guy had some wicked skills. But at the same time, his common sense was close to non-existent. Whatever, I'll figure it out when the time comes, he said. In the meantime, he shot us both a rather menacing glare. Let's enjoy the damn show. I locked eyes briefly with Sandu. I understood why he was angry. I was too. However, the situation was really beyond helping. We could only do as we were told. While we'd been talking, the Nazi had defeated the Soviet. Although he did suffer gruesome injuries from the bout, a portion of his gas mask had been shattered, revealing a rotting jaw underneath. In fact, his entire body had been pummeled to near pulp as he struggled to limp along the rails. Adrian grunted. Great. We missed the World War II rematch. I hope you guys are happy with yourselves. The guy really was like a child. A really capable, psychotic child. In other news, Satanbot blew up Morgie, along with the entire corridor, while the surgeon had made a surprise discovery after disemboweling the spider's abdomen. It was filled with about 200 smaller humanoid spiders that began swarming him. It was hard not to shudder at the sight. Bella and Luz looked like they were still trying to find a way out.
What is it? Let's do this. Done. Well, I will see you guys in the morning, yo. See you guys then.